the number one person here. You hopped on board and said hello. Thank you.
Well, let's get to the introduction. A little bit
I
about
know.
Elevate Your Profits. Mark, our whole thing is about bringing a new level of awareness for that person who maybe is thinking about going into business, or those who are
Right.
in business,
Right.
and different ways to look at businesses or opportunities. And I'm really blessed to have somebody of like mind in myself, the person we're going to bring on, very special person in my life. And matter of fact, she was my very first interview
Yes, she was.
ever. And she's the most influential person in my life. She's also very influential in a lot of other people's lives. She's making a difference in the world from who she is and her passion and that. And so tonight we're going to interview the most special person in my life, and my wife, my friend, colleague, advocate in life, Kathleen. And so we're going to bring her in right now. And
Yeah, I'm being
welcome,
Ginn.
Kath.
I gotta tell everybody I'm being Gintized tonight because I have Ginn and Ginn. It's Ginn and Gassert up here,
Oh,
and
wow.
so I'm just gonna
Well, we can
like,
call this G Force for sure
yeah.
tonight.
Oh, absolutely. It's some sort of force. And Kathy, I never had a chance to really engage with you like this on a live stream, but I do remember Tom's very first live stream. He interviewed you, and
Mhm.
I thought that was really cool. And
Mhm.
I can't wait to hear your story, what you've been doing, what you're going to be doing, and, in your profession, the ups, downs, and all arounds that's out there. We all have them, and your mindset and how you approach each day.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, Kath, I'm gonna share a little bit about how we met uh, years ago. How many years ago was that? 35 years ago, Kath?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty
Mm-hmm.
good.
Yeah, 34, 35. Mm-hmm.
Did,
Yep.
did you like him, Kathy, when you first met him?
That's for another off camera.
Okay. All right. Yeah. That's what we always like hearing.
But at that time I was in the financial service industry, she was in the financial service industry, and we were taking a licensing prep class. And my business partner, I running a little late and squeezing through the aisles, and Pete says to me, he says, Tom, and I was single at that time, and he says, Tom, this is a great way to meet the women. And I said, well, Pete, they're all married. And then, of course, Kathy says, not me. And so that started the conversation, and here we are today. So,
Hey, that's
uh,
beautiful.
so I
Yeah.
put you on the spot, Kath. But the whole thing tonight is, you've got a great story to tell. Your reason why you do, your passion, and serving your community in the holistic health arena. So why don't you just start? Mark and I will just jump in and out from time to time, ask questions and that type of thing. But tell a little bit about yourself. You
Yeah.
know, where
Mm-hmm.
you from, where you are today, and everything in between.
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank both of you for inviting me on tonight. Tom let me know this morning, so um, I
No
had
pressure.
no time to prepare, but it was okay because I think what I'm really going to share is already there and from my heart. So I hope it comes, you can feel it from that space. So my story is short but sweet, probably. I am a massage therapist and a body centered therapist. Been in the profession for now 30 years, 30 plus years. And I was 31 when I entered the profession.
Wow.
And I never knew really what I wanted to do at that most of my life. I knew what I didn't want. And that has always led me and still leads me today. So I was in college. It was way back in the 70s and majoring in social work. And one day I was a junior. And it just came to me. I'm like, if I graduate from this profession, I'm going to have to go into a system. And I didn't even really know what that meant. I'm 19 years old or something, but I knew I didn't want it. I knew I didn't want that. So I quit school. It was like first or second semester, junior year in
Wow.
college, and I quit. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I joined the army, actually.
Wow. What
And
was
all
your
my friends
MOS
said,
in the Army?
I
What
was
was
in
your
the
MO?
army, yeah, 3.5 years, and I spent 6 years in Air Force Reserves.
Wow.
But my friends thought I was crazy because they said, Kath, you don't want to be in a system. What do you think the military is? But something said go. Um, and so I did. Zero regrets. Zero regrets. So got out of the military and moved to California. That's where Tom was living at the time, and just lost. Really lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I always did something, right? Travel agent, I waitress, I manage a restaurant, things. And so I decided to go to massage therapy school. And not knowing why, really, it was just that tug that has always spoken to me, I suppose. And I have paid attention to it, I think, in the best way that I can. And that really started the ball rolling on really my service work. It's been one heck of a journey, beautiful journey, and I'm still not in the system. I'm my own boss. I have my own businesses, and I guess, yeah, I think that's really a good start with my story. Very insecure when I first started in the business. I was not a business person. I didn't know anything about business. I was scared of my own shadow. Um,
Wow.
yeah, I was lost, and yet that tug, and I knew I just kept going. I just kept going, and as I listen to myself, even now sharing this with you guys, even when I was a young girl watching the Olympics, everybody watched the Olympics way back then, right?
Hmm.
I think everybody in the nation was always glued to watching the Olympics. And I remember seeing the gold medal winner and the silver and the bronze, and everybody's clapping. And I'm like, yeah, wow, that's cool. I said, but I want to know, how did you get there? That is a story that I've always wanted to know. I don't really, the gold medal, yes,
Right.
yes, bravo. But I want to know your story, because people's story are inspiring. They blow my mind much of the time. And you never know people until you hear some of their story, you know? So
Right.
kind of where I started. Hmm.
That's
So
neat.
I'll ask you this question, Kath.
Yeah.
You knew what you didn't want. I think, because you're also a personal development coach as well, and we help people set visions, purposes, and whys, and those type of things for themselves. But I think what you just said there is you knew what you didn't want. And I
Hmm.
think that's a good starting point for, would you agree, for those out there listening, that because a lot of people don't know what they really want, but you can really isolate it real quick, what you don't want, and then things become clearer. So you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yes. Um, and I always kind of was embarrassed about not knowing what I wanted, because that's what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to know what you want, right? Who you're going to be when you grow up. And so I was always carried a bit of shame around that.
Hmm.
And but realizing now, and for a long time now, that not knowing was really the strength that propelled me to continue on in life and to finally figure out, because I believe that all of us are here for a purpose. Our job is to find that purpose, our own individual soul purpose, so to speak. Why are we here? And sometimes those tuggings and those longings, but you're just not quite there and you don't know what it looks like. you can't even hardly name it, but it just keeps coming. And that's really what I followed. And then learning to trust it. Learning to trust it
Hmm.
has been a big part of my journey. And still is. We all get the nudges and the still small voice and come here, let this go, let this go. And to really understand that language, I suppose, for lack of better words at the moment. And so knowing what you don't want can be very, 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 very
Right.
strong, beneficial, and it usually leads you in the right direction, I think.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
So I think that's important, and it sort of helps you sort out getting clear on your purpose and whys. Working in the holistic industry, being a massage therapist. Tell that journey a little bit about in the practice and your desire to help those people in that industry. Tell a little bit about why you became an instructor and what you
Yes.
taught, and leading to
Hmm.
some things that I think important for people to know around ethics. And
Okay.
share that story and what's your mission and
Hmm.
purpose to help this industry in
Yeah.
business and economics. What do you see in that industry?
Hmm. Yeah. The industry of really, it's just beyond massage therapy and body centered therapy. It's really holistic practitioners that really work one on one with people. And especially for those of us that work with the body, like chiropractors or acupuncturists, right? Massage therapists, body workers.
Okay.
Um, I'm also a body centered therapist, so I work with the emotional body, which can
Hmm.
be also emotionally draining, but that's a whole nother topic. But within maybe 6 years I was in the profession, I landed a teaching position. Again, I didn't know I didn't know anything except I knew what I didn't want to teach. And lo and behold, the person that interviewed me says, "Well, do you want to teach ethics?" And I'm like, "Sure." And that started the ball rolling in a whole different arena of my professional career. I have a
Hmm.
continuing education business. But in the context of tonight, what I wanted to share now in response to your question, Tom, I not only I have my own continuing education business, but I teach at the curriculum level at massage therapy schools, and I mentor, all right, massage therapists. And one of the classes that I teach, it's business, 36 hours business, right? New students coming into the profession.
Wow.
And a few things that I noticed that was like, wow. First day of business, we would, of course, get to know each other. And I want to know their relationship to business, right? Because most massage therapists don't enter this profession to be a businessman or a businesswoman. They enter because they want to help people. And so my experience by teaching business was many students hated the word business. Their relationship to business was very distant, almost unapproachable in their mind. And I'm like, wow, you know, and they want to be private practitioners. And I'm like, those two things are not going to go together for these people. And then began to read statistics on our profession through the years and just teaching thousands and thousands of students, both in curriculum and through continuing education. And one's relationship to business and money
Right.
was very, very fascinating and very limiting, very limiting. And that inspired me also to become a mentor, to help people see themselves and their ability that money's okay. It's okay to make money. It's okay to be a businessman and a businesswoman. And that mentality is still there today. And this is 25 years later. And I think that is one of the major reasons we have such a high burnout rate in this profession. I don't really know what it's in the chiropractic or acupuncture or other holistic healthcare fields, but I know within my profession, the burnout rate is high.
Hmm.
And I don't believe it's just because of the physical work we do. I know that. I just know that. There's a few different reasons, but one of them is they lose their faith and trust in themselves. They didn't come in to get a job. They came in to be in private practice. And so that's one thing about business and our profession. And the other thing is really beginning to teach students, based on my own experience, around multiple sources of income. Because in the first year or two of my being in the profession of massage therapy, I knew, number one, I didn't want to be in the system. And number two, I needed to find some additional income because my income would be limited because I can only do a certain amount of massages a day. I can't do anymore. And that's limiting. And so I'm like, okay, MSIs. And so that's when my teaching came in and other things that I'm doing that have just fell in. I have found through my 30 years of being in this profession, product sales, um, different ways of making money within the under the umbrella of the industry. I'm not talking about a whole different career. I'm talking about because I wanted to stay full time. So those were the two big things in the context of business. One's relationship to business, um, and themselves in business, and
Mm-hmm.
then of course earning money. Earning money was really a very mindset limitation. Hmm. Yeah.
I've got a comment, but Mark, you got anything you want to say? Because I want to follow up on something.
I just want to piggyback on what you were talking about, Kathy. In a former
Hmm.
life, I was in the trade show, exposition industries, corporate events, all that, and I dealt with a certain company that flies the friendly skies. I won't mention the name, but you can figure it's not that one though. It begins with a D, and it's really well known here in Atlanta. But the gentleman I worked alongside of, you brought something up about multiple streams of income or additional income. They had a magazine, and one day I was flying and I looked down in the magazine and I knew he did this history of the golf club and ball and all that. He parlayed his skills, got his uh, items in that magazine, which he made a few pennies from, and he said, how else do you think I could put my kids through college? And I kiddingly laughed, because he had a title and all that. He said, and he said exactly what you said. There's only so far up the food chain I can go, and
Hmm.
I'm about there. And that's
Hmm.
why, and he said, my wife is involved in doing some publication stuff as well. And I just chuckled, but
Hmm.
I said,
Hmm.
isn't that something? But you would have never known, and I would have never known unless I asked, because I had to go out to his place one time, and I said, "What's all this out here?" And he said, "You want me to show you?" And I'm like, "Wow."
Hmm.
It was pretty interesting, and that was really his passion. I could tell.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. That's a
He'd
great
make,
Going,
story, Mark.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
and you wouldn't think it looking at him, because most of the time he's in his coat and tie. I would have to go to their campus for meetings. And Lord knows that it took a Geiger counter being fingerprinted and everything else just to go see the poor guy. He would have to call the guard and make sure, hey, this is who's coming, and oh Lord,
Mhm.
it was a train wreck sometimes. But um, yeah, it's interesting that people have titles and positions. I heard this once said, and I'm sure you guys are coaches, that people are broke at different levels. Uh, uh, and, some folks can be making mega dollars, and, others beneath their means or whatever. But as my dad always used to tell me, it's not how much you make, it's what you do with it that counts.
Yeah.
So that kind of stuck
Mhm.
with me. He was from that depression mentality,
Yes.
but
Yes.
you know,
Mhm.
and I found myself doing things like if I found money on the floor or wherever, I'd pick it up in a parking lot, pennies, nickels, whatever, and I'm like, oh my God. And then,
Oh,
I found myself going to these machines where you dump all the coins. And I remember one time I didn't even think twice about it. I'm like, oh my God, I got $250 here,
mhm.
after it spit it out. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know I had that. But you have so much money laying around your house. And I'm like, man, where'd that come from?
And you got a wealth in your couch cushions, right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
we got a
yeah. You know,
Every penny
so,
counts, right?
oh,
As they
you know
say,
it.
right?
But
Hmm.
I want to go back to what Kathy said. This is relevant to what, no matter whether you're in the health practitioner industry, what's your plan B in life, in business, revenue, income? Because there's always going to be a circumstance that can come into our lives. It could be the economy, it could be an injury, like in Kathy. A lot of people get hurt, repetitive, their body doesn't hold up.
Yeah.
We've recently, in the last couple of years, we've encountered with this um, is affected businesses. In you were affected by what happened when that first came out.
Hmm.
You had
Hmm.
to shut your doors until this thing sorted out. Most people would have been devastated financially. Most people, would you agree, Kath? A lot of people in your practice, in your industry, are no longer in the business because of
Yes,
that.
that is true. That they've quit, and and perhaps never to return. I don't know. I can't say that and put a period at the end of that. But many have quit. Many have stayed, but many have quit, and because of that unexpected disruption, um, which we're guaranteed in life. What it is, we don't know, but yeah. And I think that's when we have one stream of income, it's dangerous. It can be dangerous. And um, and I feel bad for these people the last 2, 3 years that have given up on themselves, their passion, and have settled. And
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
just is, makes the window clear for me of what's needed. What people don't have to live the way they do
Right.
in many ways. Um, so yeah, those unexpected disruptions, the burnout rate, financial disruptions, MSI.
Or exchanging hours for dollars, limited amount of hours, limited amount of dollars.
Hmm.
This is a staggering statistic. And I think if you looked at any industry, sometimes we look at certain industries, we think, oh, they're making huge amount of money. Guess what? When you really analyze it, it's really me coming from a financial services industry, knowing real numbers, what this percentage of people that are struggling financially in our country, it's really sad. And Cass sometimes can't believe it, but when 62% of the American people are one paycheck away from bankruptcy, and
Yeah.
it happened, a lot of people lost everything in the last 2 years because of that.
Yeah.
But you take a look at the income, and this is in 2018. The average massage therapist income. Mark, would you like to guess what that is? You know what the answer is, but what would you guess out there before you saw the numbers?
I probably would have said, maybe like 50.
Yeah,
I mean, bare bones. That's what I would have said. Because
yeah,
because the reason I say that, as a society, most of us that are in that boomer regime, the boomers, are concerned about their health. I mean, a lot of us are at that age or even older, and we're understanding our mortality, and health is very important. It is to me, and I hope I can run gamut with my dad and make it to be 95. I mean, I thought that was awesome, and he had all his mental uh, capabilities up here, and he wasn't out to lunch on anything. The cheese didn't fall off his cracker. It's just his body broke down. That's the sad thing about you know being on this earth. But we all know we go somewhere else on another destination when we leave this planet. I truly believe that. So that's just my observation. But health is, I think everybody's pretty intense about their health, and I think that's a good thing that they are. But they know what they should be doing. Like I was with some couples last night, but they don't do it. And the first thing I did this morning is I did my 25 minutes of what I call hell. And, you know, at 6 a.m., I'm looking like, man, do I really want to do this? But once I get into it, it's like, hey, I feel good, and I'm ready to rock and roll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And going back to
But
that income,
50 50 is what I would have said, though. Seriously.
yeah, we live in an economy of, not just the massage industry. We look around and we look at real estate or insurance or all these industries, and we think that's big money. Well, in the massage industry, the average in 2018 is $25,800. So
Kathy, is that true? Really? I mean,
Yeah, it's a
wow.
statistic. Yeah. It's probably
Wow.
gotten a little better since then. Now it's 2018.
Hmm.
yeah,
Now that's the average, you know, and we know what average is, but there
Hmm.
you go, Tom. I think you have another statistic there, don't you? Maybe not.
there's a lot of statistics, and the thing is, it's a relationship with money. They're they don't val they want to impact people's lives. That's why you go in the industry. You
Yes.
have that heart to serve and help people,
Sure.
because massage and all these industries are very significant in the health thing. So they go in for the right reason, but their relationship between themselves, business, and money is a mindset. And and it could be applied to the insurance business. What's the difference of a guy making 200,000 in the insurance business and another guy in the same office making 50? What is the difference? Same product, same territories, same demographics they're going after, right?
Mhm.
Same
Hmm.
everything.
Hmm.
Why is one? It's the relationship to business, money, and are you feel that you're worthy of more money? It's a bottom line.
Mhm.
And those all come together. And Kathy and I both got certified with the Proctor Gallagher Institute. She's
Right.
a certified consultant as well, as
Mhm.
what? As a strategy, of multiple streams of income.
Mhm.
What else
Mhm.
have you done as multiple streams of income? Let's share a little bit in your profession. And a lot of people out there can hear this. You could be doing the same thing in your
Yes.
own industry, running parallel
Yeah.
product services or ideas to bring more value to the market. If you bring more value to the market, you have the right to make more money.
Yeah.
So share a little bit what you've done, Kath, over the years.
Yeah, Tom, I wrote a few things you said is bringing more value. You're a big value guy. I love that term, and value and service. We bring value through um, our service. And you also mentioned something, and it reminds me that I go back to how I started. And I said this earlier with you guys. Those Olympians. Glad you got the gold medal or bronze, but please share your story with me, because that's what I want to know. That's what I want to
Right.
know, because I think if I hear it, and I think maybe if you could do it, I might believe I can do it. And that's what I tell my students. I share my story. This is how I started. I was scared of my own shadow. I, you know, um,
Right.
and had no skill in business.
Okay, yeah,
And if I
Patrick,
can
yeah.
do it, you can do it, right? It's simple. But I'll share another term that I use a lot in my mindset, in my heart, and in my teaching. And then I'll get into my multiple sources of income to answer your question, Tom, is the term non-negotiable. Whatever you choose to do, it must be non-negotiable. That nothing or no one will get in the way of your why. And I know through my fear, through my doubt, through my frustrations, all of that, that word has helped me through a lot. Not just the word, but my mindset around the word. And so, Mark, I was one of those young ones too that picked up pennies and nickels, and I had a piggy bank that I still have today
Yeah.
because I knew that, and it's right here, I knew that if I had this, it would give me
Hmm.
freedom.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a piggy bank. I knew that as a little girl. I said, if I want something, if I want to do something, if I want to get out of this house, I need I need freedom and I need some money, right?
Right.
But I want to say something too while it's on my mind right now. We're talking about money a lot tonight, and money is not my main motivator. I don't know if I needed to say that, but I just wanted to say that. I believe so. I'll leave it at that. So my multiple sources of income, of course, what I do as a massage therapist and body centered therapist. I'm a teacher. Um, been a teacher for 25 years, both curriculum level, and I created my continuing education business. I'm an author. Um, just finished my first book. I am an end of life doula. So that is just another stream of income, not full time. I'm a retreat leader, so I do retreats and workshops. So that's another source of income.
Good. So
Yeah, and I
can
work
I,
with grief. I'm a grief companion, so
okay, I
that's
was gonna,
another.
okay. Mm,
Um, yeah, and then I have a legacy business that I do with the elderly. I love stories. I love writing. I love the elderly. And I think capturing their stories are so delicious. So
mhm.
I am also, again, not full time. These are all, different streams of income. And I remember my mom and dad both just couldn't figure out what I did because I didn't have a 9 to 5 job. They would question what I did, and they eventually found out everything that I did. They're passed
Mhm.
away now, but I remember they go, "Kat, what do you do? You don't have a 9 to 5?" And I'm like, "No, I don't." And so, those are my streams of income. And with the whole last 3 years, I really didn't have to panic, and I'm grateful. I mean, I'm deeply grateful. Um,
Right.
Yeah, but it gives
You
me
said,
freedom.
you
It
said
gives me freedom.
stories of the elderly. I bet you that there are some really awesome
Mm,
tales that you've. I don't know if you've written them down, but I think you look back, and I know my dad often told us a lot of different things. I wish we would have scribed it down. I
mhm.
mean, it's up here, but it won't leave me. But I think that's amazing. Like you go to a uh, care center and there's elderly there, and or veterans, and people look at it, and I'm like, is this what life's all about? Here they are, and they're like forgotten. Some people are, not all,
Right.
but
Mhm.
it's kind of, if you let it mess with your head, it can,
Yeah.
get to you. But the
Mhm.
upside is that's why, when you have everything going for you, you got to do everything you can, because eventually, whether we want to admit it or not, our body's going to break down, and
Yeah.
And that's going to be us. I mean, I kiddingly used to tell my dad, now I know what I have to look forward to when he was still living at 95, you
Mm.
know, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to share something. I think Mark, you said something. We're breaking down, and
mhm.
you know, I think Kathy working the holistic.
Sure,
All these years I've seen what she does and that community, and it's not just one thing that makes us healthy. It's everything. It's a
right.
whole accumulation of things to build health. But there's something that Kathy does that really gets people's attention. Could you share a little bit about what you've been doing so that you don't break down? You stay in that energy space of homeostasis. What have you been doing for the last 19 years, every year for 10 days during the month of January, which you just came back from? What is that? What do you do every year? Just get yourself quieted down.
Yeah. I go on a retreat of solitude and silence. Um, I don't. It's not far from my home. It's very close, but it's out on acreage. It's on a
Hmm.
lake, and I'm there in a little. I call it a hut. It's called
Hmm.
Pustinia, which means desert in Russian, and it has everything: a nice little living room, a twin bed, a bathroom, bathtub, and a little kitchen with everything that I need. So I bring in my own food, and I don't talk to no computer, no phone, no nothing for 10 days. And
Do
yeah,
you write a lot?
I write.
Yeah.
Yeah, every year is different. I write. I don't go in with a to-do list because that would remind me of my regular life.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's just that's what I do for 10 days. I just got back a couple days ago, and um,
Wow.
yeah, I don't have words for it, to be honest with you. At
Yeah.
times, it's I
Do,
think
do you communicate with anybody?
the
I mean,
squirrels, the
but I mean,
birds,
okay.
the
So
deer.
you don't really see anybody or talk to anybody when you're. That's neat.
No, yeah, yeah, um, yeah, and go walking every day in the woods, and
Hmm.
yeah, it's self-care is really for all of us crucial, but especially when a person is in the caregiving role. Um, and that's, I think, again, where multiple sources of income come in to prevent that burnout of, oh my God, I got to see so many clients this week, right? I've got to,
Hmm.
right? They canceled, or oh my God, now what am I going to do? And self care is crucial: mental, physical, emotional, spiritual,
Hmm.
financial. It's all a beautiful dance,
Right.
that we can be the lead of that dance.
Can you
Mhm.
share anything with us that you've written?
She's going to at the end here.
Okay. Okay.
We
All
got a
right.
couple things she's going to share.
Okay. Cool.
But I'd like
Cool.
to, ask Kathy, because your passion in ethics, and
Mhm.
a lot of people don't even know what ethics is. It's the things you don't do. Like in your arena, you don't participate in certain activities with people in your room, right? I mean,
Mhm.
that's what a lot of the do's and don'ts and laws and
Right.
regulations. Share a little bit about what you've come to learn about ethics, who you show up as, and what's that about? Because
Mm.
now I'm gonna bring up the cover of your book that's going to be coming out in March. So
Yeah. Um, as I've mentioned before, my ethical dimensions. I've been teaching ethics for 27 years now, both at the curriculum level
Hmm.
and nationally at conferences and conventions. And again, this is just like we all get and have, is that still small voice within saying, shh, go here. And sometimes it's not so small and quiet, it's very loud. Um, and ethics was one of them. back to that interview with the school. I couldn't teach anatomy. I couldn't teach most of the curriculum. What can you teach? I don't know. You want to teach ethics? Yes. And so that was one of those moments.
Oh,
And
wow.
went home and started developing my curriculum. My whole approach to ethics is transformation. It's really the self-inquiry of who am I being as I enter this session room, this classroom, with this other person, with these other people. It's not what I do or the do's and don'ts of a code of ethics, right? People
Hmm.
can read it, know it, do a quick online
Sure.
course around that. But my whole approach to ethics has been a study of self,
Okay.
um, professional power, the power differential, integrity.
That's nice. Very nice.
Really, who are we being?
Hmm.
Um, and so that's has been my whole approach on ethics. It's a transformational journey, um, and getting to know oneself and consciously and mindfully deciding what kind of practitioner, what kind of person do you want to
Right.
be, and then
Right.
offer that to the world, offer that to your client. um,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's more than just the technique that you provide in a body session, right? There go the dynamics of relationship, healthy
Mhm,
relationship. You don't have
mhm.
relationships outside your professional. There's a lot of things you've taught me over these years that
Right.
are so important. But what she's talking about, and Catherine, goes beyond just her industry. We need to be more connected to who we are, how we show up with individuals. Whether you're a car salesman, insurance person, an iron worker, or whatever, it's all who we are and show up is ethics and integrity and authenticity and all those things. And your book is more than just for massage therapists, because I've seen the reviews, I've read your book, and so I'm going to put the cover of your book up. Okay.
Mhm.
So the ISBN number's on its way, and it's ready to go public here soon. So I'm going to bring it up so everybody can see the title of the book, and you can comment on that if you like, Kath.
Okay. The soul of ethical service.
7 qualities to embrace in your
Hmm.
professional healing relationship, a unique and engaging guide to ethical awareness.
Mhm.
That's her title and subtitles. So
Yeah.
so I'm humbled by what she's done and put together, taking her passion all these years, and now taking it to a different level, so that creates a legacy type of discipline and learning that's so desperately needed in all areas. So,
Yeah.
and it's going to be an MSI. She's going to
Um,
teach.
ca-
Go ahead.
can I say something on that while it's in my head so I don't forget? I want people to maybe hear this too. If some of you may be listening and say, "Well, I love to write, I love to journal, but I'm not a writer." I'm not either. I never
God.
took a writing class. Um, I never looked at myself as a writer. I journaled. I have a journal, right? Been journaling for years. But I'm a
That's
writer.
one.
I'm a writer, right? And so, whether it's writing or whether it's anything else, if you're looking to live your passion out and live your life with meaning and purpose, it doesn't have to be just one thing. Doesn't have to be just one thing. Yes, we've talked about multiple streams of income and making money, becoming financially independent, whatever. But imagine the people that you can serve and touch by offering them the different gifts that you have. That we could call that multiple streams of income, you know?
Right.
So if you don't believe that you are gifted in something, you may want to throw that belief out and check it out, because you may surprise yourself with the things that you can offer and then monetize it.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah,
Anything can be monetized.
yeah, that's
Look
pretty
at
interesting.
kids. We sold
That's a pretty
lemonade when we were little kids, right?
right,
Kool-Aid,
right,
right? Brownie.
right.
I don't know. What did we all sell when we were little kids? I mean, you can
Newspaper routes. Yeah,
exactly. Newspaper routes, whatever. So, yeah.
Can I just got to
Mhm.
say something. You say you didn't know anything about business, but you had a mindset you knew you didn't want. So you were willing to learn. That's the key. You knew what you didn't want. You were going to pay the price to learn business and marketing. And, in massage therapy, it's selling. You got to sell
Yeah.
yourself. You got to rebook an appointment. You got to feel good about that yourself to say, when do you want to come in, next week or the following week? And you got to ask that selling question, right?
right,
No
Right.
difference.
Yeah.
It's so I have, I've been a business guy, business minded and a marketing guy since day you've met me, right, Kath?
Yep. Yep, Tom.
And I have learned more from this woman than some of the best books and mentors I've had, because she demonstrates focus and discipline like I've never seen in many people. That's one of her core unshakable things. Her ability to, once she makes a decision, that's a key word there, decision. She knows what she doesn't want. She takes actions with clear focus and gets the job done. So I've learned a lot from her, and we've heard those, Mark, we've heard those things from other people, right?
sure.
But when you see it in your own life, and I've learned from her, she has kept me on course with her wisdom, knowledge, and discipline. So I'm grateful. And hopefully anybody out there, she's out there. If you ever want to touch base with her, you can reach out to her. We got some more comments coming in. I want to say thank you, Robert, for coming in. And then we had a couple other people here. I talked to this person today, Darcy, for the first time today, and she showed up. Thanks, Darcy. And of course, Scott and Patrick and whoever else is out there. We've had numbers jumping on the screen here, but I've learned a lot from somebody that is doing it.
Right.
I think that's the key. Somebody is doing
Sure.
it, living it, and walking it. And I'm a blessed man. I have fun with this statement as well, is that every year for the last 19 years, I get a new woman in my life, because she comes back transformed with a new insight, a new depth, and all those type of things. And that silence is something I can't do what she does. I shouldn't say I can't. I elect not to, I guess is the best way to say it. But I've learned to be quiet and still, and what that makes a difference. It keeps me from getting burnt out, right? So, Mark, you had a question about.
Well, I did. I wanted to ask you, Kathy, when you were going through this period of COVID, you had to regroup. The mindset of some of these people, they just threw in the towel and just said, "Hey, we're done," and that's it. They didn't even kind of rethink it, or I could do something and talk to some of my clients virtually, or just to keep in touch and ask them how they're doing and what they're doing, and that didn't even enter into their mind to do.
No. Fear we all know about
Wow.
fear, right? We all know
Right.
about fear. And what I did, and I'm not putting myself on a pedestal at all, but your question, Mark, I thought of within the first 2 weeks, I got on contacted national certification. I'm an approved provider. All my classes were live classroom classes, right?
Sure.
I didn't really enjoy online teaching. I had no interest in it. And at that time, and then COVID hit, and one of the first things I did was get on the phone and say, "Hey, how do I get my continuing education online?" And within, I think, a week, I did, and then I started offering my classes online. And that's one of the things that helped me get through too, especially for the first couple months when, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right.
Kath, do
That's
you have a
interesting.
couple of your writings in front of you there?
I have one. I have one. And it's really not a writings per se. It's an invitation. And
Oh, wow.
yeah, it's an invitation. And this came to me, um, you know, there for 10 days, floor to ceiling windows, get to watch nature all the time. And squirrels are really interesting to watch. If you ever sit and watch them for a couple hours, they're very
I
fascinating.
don't care for them in the attic, but I'll take your word on that.
So when I was on retreat this time, it just came to me. The 3 words, I'm watching them eat, and they didn't budge when a big black bird came by. And like, wow, these squirrels are just interesting. And 3 words came to me: determination, intensity, and focus. And so this is my deep, deep, wise writing that I'm going to share with you right now. If you ever want to observe these qualities of determination, intensity, and focus, watch a squirrel.
Could you say that again? Could you say that again? Seriously. What did you just say now? Go ahead.
I said, if you ever wish to observe these qualities of determination, of intensity,
Okay.
of focus, watch a squirrel.
Determination, intensity, and focus. DIF. Okay.
DIF. Watch a squirrel. Nature is just, it's a big classroom. We can learn a lot about ourselves from watching nature, being in nature, the deer,
Right.
everybody out there. It's the weather, the flow of day turning to night. We're each other's teachers, I believe, to include
Yes.
Mother Nature.
Yes.
We just have to pause and be still and notice.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And I think that sort of leads to what happened. 19 next year's 20 years straight every year. Made that commitment and discipline, and she's been writing. She's got every year journaled and some fabulous, deep, insightful, curious questions as well that really cause you to reflect. And she's going to compile that in another book as well. She's already got the writings done, and that's going to be a fun book to put out there, just to see your talent. And
that's neat.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, she's gifted. She's humbled, but she's gifted. She is a writer, naturally born writer, and she's a good grammar teacher. She puts the red pencil to everything I write. Mark, you've seen my stuff. It's
Right.
between dyslexia and all that type of
Oh,
stuff.
that's okay. We all have issues with something.
But anyway, she says, don't put that out on the internet until I had a chance to.
Oh, yeah, I would.
There,
I do the same thing. Well, how do you think I feel? My wife is an ex-journalist that,
oh boy.
and I've been on her about writing a book because she really should. And she's an educator as well now, teaching youth that are have learning disabilities, and yeah, I was going to say that once a squirrel sees the bird feeder, and we know for a fact, and we took our bird feeder off our deck because we got tired of it, because I said, I don't care what type of bird feeder we get, we think it's squirrel proof, not with a squirrel.
Yeah. I bring bird food on my retreat, so they're the first ones that come.
Yeah, they'll be right there and saying, "Oh, yay, Kathy's here. Good, look what we get." Sorry, birds.
Thanks, Robert, for making your comments. Yeah, I can tell you've watched some squirrels in your day.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they are interesting, very interesting.
Mhm.
Well,
And we,
Kathy, Mark, do you dance tonight? Do you got?
oh yeah, it's getting, I think this will be the last session of West Coast Swing. So
Wow, really?
yeah, so we're learning different steps, and so it's
Oh,
really, what you do. And I came into this realm of dance, and there are people that are really into it, but I compete with myself, and I don't worry about what other people can do. And one evening I just told Gina, look, don't worry about everybody else so much. Let's just do what we do and can do when we go out on the floor, and stop trying to worry about keeping up with the Joneses, or just have fun with it. And
fun.
and then it just it's more natural that way. But some people get all, as I say, geeked up with how many steps and what type of. I can't do all that, but I do like watching the guys that can really dance, and I learn from them. Just kind of watch them, and I pick up some things. It's pretty interesting, but it's like anything else. You got to work at it, and you
Mhm.
know.
Wow, enjoy.
Yeah, I know. You never would think that I'd be doing this. That's
No.
why I said, if the guys could see me now, because when we first got there, we were both klutzes. But then, you get better. Each lesson, you get better, you get better, you get better.
Mhm.
And, I often said, next to public speaking, dance can be a little intimidating for some people. They don't want to get out there on the dance floor or dance in front of other people. Now you're in a class with instructors, so that can be fun, and people are watching you, and you're like, oh God, he's looking at me, or oh God, the lady instructor's looking at me. Oh, she's gonna rip me up and tell me what I'm doing wrong. But they're not that bad. They just say, hey, you need to work on this, this, and this, and
Mhm.
and off you go.
Off you go.
Well, Mark, I tell you what, when we come to Georgia, we're gonna have to go to a dance hall because Kathy loves dancing.
Oh no, I saw that you like to polka. If I stand to be corrected, is that true?
Any
I,
dance, but I was raised on polka music.
Yes, that's
Mhm.
kind of where I grew up. I grew up in a little community, Lebanon, Pennsylvania, but yeah, they had Bavarian beer
Oh,
festivals,
yes.
and people would polka, and I
Yeah.
never could understand why they would just do that one dance for 3 days or kill a weekend. And
Any dance is good, huh? I
oh
guess
yeah, oh absolutely, absolutely,
polka's fun.
yep.
Yeah, we put some information up there. You find out more about what Kathy's doing at fourrivercenter.com. Anybody out there in the space of needs continuing education and her ethics training and that ethicaldimensions.com, and you can always reach out to her at her fourrivercenter.com email, and she'd be glad to engage with you in any way that she can. So
I'd love to get the book when it officially is out there. Definitely have to get the book.
Thank you, Mark.
I think that looks an interesting read. What you're talking about when you were talking about integrity, and you know it just it's like what Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true. And I think sometimes all of us don't do that day in and day out. We go through the motions. And it sounds like when you go to this retreat, you find your inner self, your inner being, and you know you get very creative mentally, spiritually. I could go through the whole realm, but I won't. But I'm sure you do, and you
I
could
like what
even
Robert just said here, but when you get it, the things ramp up a level you've never been to
been
before.
been to before. Yeah, that's
That's
true.
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
My
yeah.
mother, yeah, Cat Felix enjoys the iPad playing for him. Man, Robert comes up with some wild stuff. That's why we was like, listen, oh, here comes. I suspect studying ethics will enhance the inclination to be treated fairly. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Mark, I know you're getting ready to do
Yeah,
the.
I mean the hour goes by quick, does it not? I mean it's 7:07 already, or 7:02 according to my
Yep.
computer clock. So yeah,
Mhm.
awesome.
Kath, in closing,
Yes.
any closing parting words that you would like to leave with anybody out there before we put you in the green room and Mark and I will sign off?
Be still, listen, and trust.
I like that.
Be still, listen, and trust.
All right.
That's very
Well,
nice.
I know you're in the other room, so you guys still hold on tight here. So we'll put you in the back room. Okay.
Bye, you guys.
Okay.
Thanks a
Hey,
lot.
hey,
All
thank you,
right.
Kathy,
Thank
for
you. Thank
sharing with
you.
us this evening.
Mhm.
She's my why. She's been a great mentor for me. She's been a great mentor for countless number of people in her profession, outside her
Right,
profession. And she's somebody that anybody that's out there, her greatest gift is be able to listen,
right.
and respond appropriately. And so she's a great teacher for me. And we're about helping people better understand what it takes to win in business and life, right?
Right.
So, what'd you come away with, Mark?
What I expressed myself there with Kathy when she was talking about, her book, and it wasn't the do's and don'ts. It's more internal, and I think we all have what I'd like to consider like a barometer or something within us, and we know what we should be doing. And I like when she said, "Be still." And trust yourself. And I think sometimes we don't do that. We don't listen to the inner voice enough. um, whether it's getting up and taking a walk or reading a book or exercising or having a engaging conversation with your significant other, or there's a lot of things you can do, and we get distracted, and sometimes technology gets in the way of a lot of things. I think that's cool that she doesn't have an iPhone or anything, or you know that what for 10 days she goes out there and does her thing. And I know Vince Dooley, when he used to back in the day with the Georgia Bulldogs as a coach, he would go to like where the monks were, a monastery, and get away from it all. And he'd be with the brothers and just kind of hang out. And they let you go there so you can get yourself together. And I think it's great. And I'd like to try it sometime. I really would. I don't know if I could do 10 days, even a weekend. They have places you can go to, and I think it's good to do, you
Yeah,
know.
Kathy's giving the thumbs up. Do it, man, do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Mark, I appreciate our we didn't have a guest scheduled.
No, I thought this was great. I
Yeah,
learned a lot, and I will definitely get the book,
thank you, thank you. She says she's doing. Thank you.
Is
Well, Mark, I'm just going to put this up. We got one more comment coming in here. Let's see what we got here.
it Robert? Yeah, I had an opportunity to spend a little time with Coach Lily, and that she speaks the way I love to write. Her words are like music to me. That's cool. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
yeah. So
Be,
yeah, writing is like music. It comes from a special place, and Kathy's writing does come from a special
mhm,
place.
mhm.
But I'd just like to, just bring attention. I'm going to bring this up real quick so people are aware. We won't get any great dialogue. See if I got it here. Is our corporates, I don't have the logo, but our corporate sponsor that we do is so important, allows us to do what we're doing. We're living what we're talking, is having a plan B, finding that thing we love and care about and we can serve people is our program called ASEA. And anybody wants to know about that, you can reach out to Mark and I. So there's Mark's information. And anybody wants to know what ASEA is, they can come to this link tree. They'll give you
Yeah.
everything you need to know about that. So you know, we're here to help and encourage people to, you know, have choices in life. Would you agree, Mark? Most people
Yes.
don't. They're handcuffed
Well,
with
yeah.
limiting choices.
Well, mentally they're handcuffed. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree with you. Yeah. And I
So,
think we all, Tom, need to work on that.
yeah,
Talk to ourselves in a positive mind frame and just it's okay. I kiddingly say this, everybody laughs about it, but the great Miles Davis, as indifferent as he was, I love the quote where he says, do not fear mistakes because there are none. And he was an artist. He played trumpet. So his whole thing was, hey, there are no mistakes up here, and that's kind of a different way of looking at something, because the
yeah,
do's and don'ts, like when Kathy was talking about ethics, when you mention that word, you think more do and don't as opposed to what she was talking about. So,
absolutely. Yeah, she's going to bring a whole new level of
right,
awareness, not just in her profession, but anybody that reads that book, no matter what profession or whatever. There's deep value there, and
right.
I've read the book and I've seen her working it all these years.
I'm
So
sure she really articulates it very well within her book. That's why I'd like to get it and read it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You'll everybody will be have a gift. I'll just put it
Right.
that way. Mark, you have a great evening.
Well, I will,
You're
sir.
awesome guy. Appreciate our relationship and thanks for participating in Kathy's interview tonight. That
Oh, I,
was
I
I
enjoyed
had a
it.
blast.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So
All right. Were you ready,
everybody,
my friend?
I'm ready. I am ready to rock and roll. And thank you everybody for being here this evening,
Yes.
for
Thank you
taking the
much. And
time.
we're gonna close out with two videos on a see ya.